right, we made it. That shit dragged on, didn't it? Finally, the boxing card ended. Took way too long, much longer than I expected. That's why I had the stream scheduled for an hour before right now. A big part of that was due to the weird production choices made tonight, and we'll talk about that a little later. And a lot of that had to do with really just both main events of the UFC and boxing just not delivering. But yeah, Terence Crawford just defeated Israel Madrimov via decision. He becomes the new 145 title holder. Let me see what belt that actually is for. The WBO. So, yeah, I actually had scored the fight a draw on the first watch. I thought that I got to eat some crow because I thought Madrimov performed really well. I actually gave him a majority of the first few, like the first couple rounds and most of the middle ones. I thought Bud brought it back. I think there's a case for either guy to win, but ultimately, we're in America. Bud's going to get that decision. I don't know, man. I don't really want to hear anything about Canelo and Bud anymore. This fight, though it was Bud Crawford moving up in weight, I don't know. I feel like it hurt his stock in some ways. Obviously, the fans were leaving early. They were booing throughout the contest, which you never really want to see, especially from someone that's marketed as a superstar, pound for pound #1 fighter in the world. But yeah, on the other side, I gotta eat some crow because Israel Madrimov, he looked really good in there, I guess. I mean, both guys were really tentative. They picked it up in the later rounds, but nonetheless, Israel Madrimov had excellent defense, had good offense in spots. I thought if this was definitely somewhere else on neutral soil, I think there would have been a draw or even a case for Madrimov to win. Bud Crawford really won the rounds that he won, in my opinion, with flurries, sort of like Sugar Ray Leonard versus Marvin Hagler. But it's interesting, a couple things about that card in particular, that Terence Crawford never was a big pay-per-view draw. I'd be interested to see what the numbers were for this pay-per-view, which I don't know if it should have been a pay-per-view. Kenny Biggums, what's up, bro? He says, your beard looks like it smells good. Well, thank you. I try to have good hygiene. But back to what I was saying. A few things about this is, Bud was never a big pay-per-view draw. It was really interesting to see. I guess it started in his last fight, but the fact that the crowd was full of so many celebrities and a full house for a guy like Bud Crawford, a guy from Omaha, Nebraska, who was always able to sell out in his hometown. But and obviously with Errol Spence when he went to, I think it was in Texas, to fight him. But yeah, just a guy who's never really been known as like a big star, able to pull a crowd like that was pretty cool to see for me. But and then again, in that same context, the fact that the fight just was not good, I think it's going to hurt Bud's stock, especially against a guy with 11 pro fights. I know he has an extensive amateur career, and the fact that he was a title holder at 154 was good. Hardcores know that this was an achievement for sure, but I think that the public at large is going to roast Terence Crawford for this performance he had. Hank the Tank says, Madrimov surprised me. I'm a Madrimov stan. Eminem likes Bud. That he does. And rip the Canelo fight. Yeah, and actually after the fight, they asked him, they're like, hey, are you going to gonna go chase that Canelo fight. And Crawford was pretty dismissive of the fight. I think he knows that this fight did not deliver, and this fight actually also ends an 8-year knockout streak that Bud was on. So it's just, it's weird. And before we get into the other results, I want to quickly mention the fact that there was a terrible sports washing moment in which Turki Al-Sheikh was given an award by the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame. I don't even know. It was just like an achievement award. It was super weird. They then had a fan. Turki Al-Sheikh pressed a button, selected a fan at random, and he won a car. So after that, you had nearly a 30-minute concert from Eminem. And not to mention that this was a Riyadh season event. This is sports washing at its finest, if you ask me. This is literally the definition of sports washing. Do I think that it's wrong to give Turki Al-Sheikh an award in the Boxing Hall of Fame, give him a place in the Boxing Hall of Fame? Not necessarily. I think it's strange that it was done so fast because a lot of promoters come into the game and they're not able to last. Obviously, Turki Al-Sheikh has the capital to be able to last, but it just surprised me. Well, I guess it didn't surprise me, but it was just kind of weird to see the blatant sports washing happening. If you are not aware of what sports washing looks like, this is what it looks like. I think that it would have been better to give Turki an award later, right? Like after he actually, I don't know, is later in the later stage of his promotion career, or at least I don't know, let him put on less than like what? I mean, 5. I don't even think he's put 10 events on. You know, it was weird. It was super, super weird. I'm not gonna lie. I hated it. I thought it was kind of disgusting. And you know, Saudi Arabia has a lot of money. That's basically why Turki Al-Sheikh was able to put these string of cards together and get him in the Boxing Hall of Fame. Thought that was really strange. We don't have to go into the politics and why it's weird to glaze the country of Saudi Arabia, which they actually played their national anthem before the main event started. Hank Tank says it was so tiny. I'm not sure what you're talking about. LSD moment of the card, 100%. They love them some oil money. Everybody does. Pretty pathetic. I'm glad that you have that take, Hank, because I'm right there with you. I thought it was pretty disgusting, but it's the world we live in. You know, it is what it is. What's up, Profuco? Oh yeah, the award. Yeah, it was like a Heisman Trophy or some shit. It was really weird. So then we're gonna just run down the rest of the card. Jose Valenzuela wins a decision against Isaac Cruz. I said before this fight that Isaac Cruz had some good knockouts, and he got outboxed with Tank. When Tank had one hand, he had broken his hand in the contest. So I wasn't really entirely sure how he would do against Rayo, who someone that I didn't know about and is actually from Renton, Washington, which is actually not too far away from where I'm at right now. But Valenzuela did good. He outboxed Isaac Cruz, who was very aggressive, just trying to go for the knockout. It was like knockout or bust. I could tell that from the first round that Isaac Cruz isn't there to knock this dude out, and if he couldn't, he's probably going to lose the decision. But there is a question to be made on, you know, does boxing and running away get you the win, or does, you know, the forward pressure and the willingness to finish the fight get you the win? So anyway, Rayo becomes the new WBA World Super Lightweight Champion. Good for him. We then had a fight with Andy Ruiz Jr. and Jarrell Miller, which I called the boxing version of Dada 5000 versus Kimbo Slice. It was every bit of that. I thought Jarrell Miller won. Andy Ruiz pretty much wasn't doing anything, and neither really was Jarrell Miller, to be fair. So I understand the draw, but I did think Miller won. Ruiz looked terrible. He looked terrible. He was gassed after like 3 rounds, which we thought Jarrell Miller would gas first. But Andy Ruiz makes sense why he's had so many canceled fights and trying to outprice himself in fights with guys a little more skilled and with less of a bad track record as Jarrell Miller. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck was going on. I mean, honestly, guys, like this card in general, as much hype as it had, it just didn't live up to expectations. I thought the card was pretty bad. But one thing that was good was when Martin Bacol defeated Jared Anderson. He becomes a new WBO international and ABF heavyweight championship holder. Martin Bacol just kind of schooled Jarrell Miller, gave him a boxing lesson, knocked him out, stopped him, dropped him. A lot of boxing heads were telling me that Bacol and Rayo were the guys to look out for as underdogs on this card, and they were not wrong. Martin Bacol was kind of unknown. He got this knockout. It's good for him. Jarrell Miller, I think, should be his next opponent, but that's just me. We then had a fight with David Morrell, up a weight class against a relatively unknown guy who had like 30 fights. I think this is David Morrell's, like, he has under 15 fights. So David Morrell looked very unimpressive. There was a case to be made that he even lost the fight. He's eyeing a fight with David Benavidez. After that, I think the David Benavidez just beats up on him bad. It was a really bad night of fights, if you ask me, in general. Really, I mean, I didn't watch the UFC card live. I actually just finished watching it. I was not impressed with your performance. What is up, Western Mass? Stop, drop, and roll. What is up, Jay Sharp? One of the few highlights on the card. Yeah, 100%. I mean, there was good boxing, but at the end of the day, this card was supposed to be a banger. And, you know, Saudi Arabia's debut in America just was trash. And you know, the hour-long or so intermission to give Turkey an award, give a fan a car, and have a whole ass concert in the middle of the event was really weird to me. So we'll move on to the UFC results. You got Umar Nurmagomedov defeating Corey Sandhagen over 5 rounds. Umar looked good against his toughest test as of late. Corey Sandhagen didn't really have anything for Umar, but he hung in there tight. He made it. I wouldn't say that the fight was ever really in question or close, but Umar just kind of, he dominated, but he didn't put a stamp on it, if you ask me. He just outclassed Corey everywhere. There was nowhere Corey was better. There wasn't a moment in this fight where you're like, dude, Corey's going to win. He doesn't have big knockout power. He does when he throws a good knee, and you know, or can cut you. But good step up for Umar. I thought the fight was strange when it was booked. But Corey, man, I mean, he always loses the big match. That was my biggest analysis coming into this fight, and the reason I couldn't really pick Corey to win. You feel for a guy like Corey because he's such a nice guy. He always gives his all, but you know, physically, Umar was faster than him, has more grappling ability, and I mean, Corey was just like not able to hit Umar very cleanly ever or put combos together. And I mean, does this inspire like title hopes for Umar? Not necessarily for me. One thing it did show me is that Umar really can grapple, because, and we already knew these Dagestani guys can grapple, but you know, a lot of the talk was that you know, Umar is a better striker than Khabib or Makhachev. He's got better kicks. You know, I don't know if his grappling is as strong. The one thing I do like about Umar, and something you want to see from like a prospect, is he's very patient and he picks his spots well. Um, I wouldn't say that the performance was like super impressive, but it did tell us that Umar can do a lot of the things that he's been doing to lower level guys to higher level guys, which I would consider Corey Sandhagen to be. Um, but yeah, I don't know, man. It was not a good main event. The fight sucked. It was terrible. Was not exciting whatsoever. What is up, AJ? Hank the Tank says Corey did well at first. He wimps out a little. Idaho or Riot. I'm in here right now, bro. Good to see you, though, my friend. So the next fight was Sharamagomedov defeating Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. Another terrible fight. Sharamagomedov was supposed to knock this guy out. He did not. He then calls out Nick Diaz after a pretty uninspiring performance. I thought that was a bad decision for him to do. Mikhail Oleksiejczuk, though, actually doing well in spots. Wasn't able to implement like a good game plan. Sharamagomedov showed that he can get up from a takedown, so that's good. He's got excellent kicks. I mean, what is there to say? This should not have been the co-main event, if you ask me. What should have been the co-main event is Davison Figueiredo defeating Marlon Vera. I actually had Davison in the first round. I thought Marlon fought well. In the second, he was winning the third until he got dropped by Davison Figueiredo. And I think that's what really swayed the fight in his favor. Davison was much faster until a little bit later. I feel like both guys kind of slowed. Juice Man, what is up, bro? He says, I'm having trouble sleeping. How can I watch the Crawford fight so he can help me sleep? And then he gives me a skate trick. It's probably up on YouTube somewhere, man, or underground websites. But yeah, no, it was bad. We'll open up the chat here after I run through the UFC card. Anybody can hop in. We'll talk about everything you guys want to talk about. But yeah, I feel like both guys slowed quite a bit at the end of the fight, which was a question we had about Figgy. There wasn't really a time where I think Rob Font made Figgy work very hard, but the fact that he slowed was really interesting to me, and he was able to implement his grappling pretty well, I thought, against Marlon in the beginning of the fight especially. But it was just, I mean, it was interesting to see him just not... A lot of the things that were issues for him at 125 showed in this fight, I guess. But, I mean, he is a former champion, and that's why I picked him to win this fight. I don't think that he'll be a champion at 135 pounds. There's guys with more volume than a guy like Marlon, who, as AJ said, I think Cheeto's not looking good. What happened to him? Juice Man, what's up, bro? Good to see you. I thought that Marlon looked really good in this fight. Actually, it was a close fight against a former champion at a different weight class. But I just thought that it's tough to say where Marlon's really headed. He now moves to 23-10-1. Losing a fight to a former champion, but a guy from 125 is never a good look. But as Juice Man says, Figgy did his thing. Actually proud of him. He gets impressive win at a higher weight class. Yeah, 100%. Sean O'Malley happened to Cheeto. Yeah, did you see Davison dropping him and hurting Marlon in spots? And I said it, Marlon, his best way to win is when he gets a finish. He generally loses a fight till he gets a finish, sort of like Ortega. We then have to talk about a terrible, terrible, sad moment. And it gets even sadder. What is up, Isha? Good to see you. He says, hope you're having a good weekend. Yeah, man, I'm just chilling up in Washington with the fam, man. It's beautiful up here. I love it. But yeah, unfortunately, we have to talk about Michael Chiesa finishing Tony Ferguson in the first round. Oh my gosh. Tony never did anything in this fight. Got rear naked choked by Chiesa. Good win good for Chiesa to get a win. Tony Ferguson dropping the gloves and then saving one glove. The UFC clearly told him he is done after this. And DC, that was obvious because DC was like, "Oh, like you're dropping the gloves." He goes, "No, I'm gonna keep one glove," and DC was like, "Oh, well, you're done in the UFC," So clearly they told him that he is no longer employed with the UFC. What is up, Panda? Good to see you. Tony needs to just go into coaching. I think he'd be a fantastic coach. Yeah, I thought that was sad because it's. I think Tony's having a hard time. He wants to fight. I understand it. He needs to get a win before he calls it a day, I think, but he does not. Him saying in the post fight interview that he wants to keep fighting, but he doesn't think he will fight outside of the UFC. I can't imagine they let him get another fight. I really can't, unless they pull out some other washed contender for him. And they tried to with Michael Chiesa. I really think they did. I think they tried their best. Jay Sharp says only one man was successful with one glove, Michael Jackson. Oh my God, yeah. Tony's washed, bro. It's just sad to see at this point. Tony is done. Anyone can fuck him up at this point. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is like if they brought in another retired old fighter to fight him, I'd be here for it. They should do Tony that solid if you ask me. But again, I mean, if they don't, whatever. But the next fight was Mackenzie Dern winning. I guess did she win? Oh, she did win the fight to Lupita Godinez. Sorry, I didn't even stick around for the decision. I thought she lost, just flat out. But she does win. I don't know. I don't even know how she won that fight, but I thought that Mackenzie Dern's offensive striking was much improved. Not only that, I feel like her takedowns were actually much improved. She had different takedowns that I hadn't seen her do before. But her defensive striking just was terrible. It was terrible. Every time she gets hit, it's a big reaction. She gets hit clean. She doesn't have any head movement. She did look physically the best she's ever looked, if you ask me. For you guys that think that Mackenzie Dern is hot, I got news for you. She's not. The level of entry to be attractive in MMA is very low. So, to each their own. Juice Man says, I wanted Dern to lose. I picked her to lose. I guess she won. I thought Lupita looked good. The American accent is returning, is it? I didn't even see. Dern identifies as a tiled. I'm not sure what that is. Now she'll never leave the garage. Can't stand the Dern Sims. Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I can't believe she won. What the fuck? But again, it's because even just her stance, right? The kickboxing stance just looked on point. She advances. Good for her. I thought Lupita won. Lupita looked good. Definitely got taken down. There was some control time racked up for Dern. So neither one of these girls are going to be champs or even real contenders for the belt, if you ask me. But we move on to Joel Alvarez defeating Elvis Brenner via TKO in the third round. I had him by submission, and he did have a submission locked up at one point. At the beginning of the fight, Joel was making Elvis Brenner bite on all feints. He really pieced Brenner up good. I thought he looked great in this fight. The fact is that Joel was just so much bigger than Elvis, and I think both guys kind of gassed towards the end. Joel's got too many tools, better ground game, a little more power. I think if you are gonna, if Elvis is gonna win a fight, it's gonna be a dog fight. Brenner got his ass whooped. Exactly. I was not expecting the knockout when it happened, but I thought both guys were kind of gassed. I like Joel Alvarez. It's a good win for him, but he's rather inactive. I think he needs to fight more often, and he'll move up the rankings faster. For Elvis Brenner, man, I mean, shit, he looked good in his debut, but he just can't seem to get right. And that's a bummer because, lightweight's such a meat grinder that this should just bound to happen. Next fight was Asmat Mirzakhanov defeating Alonzo Menafield. KO, round 2. Perfect pick for me. A lot of people were saying that it would be another boring grappling affair because they saw Shamil Gaziev defeat Dontel Mays earlier in the card. Asmat Mirzakhanov is not that dude. He's a kickboxer who has great takedown defense. Alonzo Menafield was outgunned here. I thought that Alonzo Menafield would be much bigger than him, but he actually was pretty similar size. Mirzakhanov, just better kicks, just a better kickboxer. Good takedown defense. It was good to see him get the win. Other results: Fernandez defeating Yaya, KO 1. Quick finish. I flipped a coin for this fight, so maybe that'll be a trend moving forward. The coin flip decision. Speaking of decisions, Shamil Gaziev defeats Dontel Mays in a terrible fight. Just out-grappled him, laid on him. Dontel Mays never really had a chance to win, if you ask me. Crowd was booing. My old coach trains him. Who does he train? Asmat Mirzakhanov? That's sick. Oh, yeah. Because AJ, he's from the East Coast, and that's where Asmat Mirzakhanov trains. So that's what's up, bro. Garam Kudatiladze defeats Jordan Vucenic. I saw people calling this a robbery. When I watched the fight, I had it 2 rounds to 1. Garam, pretty clean. He was cut from a headbutt, but I think that Jordan Vucenic looks great in a loss. I hope he'll get a fight down at featherweight. Garam advances. He needed this win really bad. Out-grappled Jordan Vucenic. Striking was relatively close, but good win for him. Split decision. I said this would be a split decision. It was. Sam Hughes gets the win over Dudikova. Sam Hughes, I said that we didn't really know how good Dudikova was, and I think we know now that she doesn't have... I thought wrestling would be her strong point, but she actually held her own on the feet with Sam Hughes, I thought. But Sam Hughes just put the pace on her and just kind of dogged her. Good win for her because she's so up and down that you just never know if Sam Hughes is going to win a fight. She's kind of a journeywoman fighter, I guess, at this point. Jai Herbert defeats Bedoya. I had Bedoya, but Herbert used that crispy striking that he's known for, drops Bedoya at one point. I thought that Bedoya would be able to just outwork him, which he was throwing more, but it wasn't really landing, and Jai Herbert kept the distance well. Fought beautifully. Good win for Jai Herbert. And then finally, Dumas out-wrestled Tallulah in a terrible, boring fight. So I give the UFC card. I didn't watch it live, but it was pretty much a slog, man. The problem is that there was a lot of high-level fighters that were in competitive fights, so you never really got a chance to see anyone get a solid finish. There was a few, but again, I give the card like a 6. It wasn't as bad as last week. I did just send a link in the chat. Anyone who wants to join can go ahead and join now. We'll talk about whatever. We'll go for as long as you guys want. This is your show, so let's do it. But yeah, I mean, the boxing card and the UFC tonight were not good. One last night sucked. Outside of outside of the kickboxing and Muay Thai fights, which were amazing. And the one card was also really good. I don't know how PFL was. I heard a lot of people saying it was bad. All the fights today didn't live up to expectations. I mean, I thought Asmat Mirzakhanov looked good. I mean, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 decisions. 1 submission, Kessa. One submission. Just the 1 submission from Kessa on Tony Ferguson. Jeez. 2 KOs, 3 KOs in a row actually was Fernandez, Mirzakhanov, and Alvarez. So that's good. But other than that, I mean, the card was not good. People were saying great card. Yeah, who was saying that? It was okay. Yeah, it was not the strongest performance for Saturday night. Big fight night. But we're here for it, man. We're degenerate junkies, and that's what we do. Good thing I don't pay for these. Yeah, 100%. Guy Hank the Tank. What's up, bro?
Hey, what's up, Skatesman? How you doing, brother?
Just chilling, man. How you doing? What was your rating on the cards tonight?
For the UFC card, God, I think I agree. I think a 6 would be good for it. There were a few moments that got me excited. There were a few good finishes.
3 KOs in a row. I mean,
I liked Azamat's knockout. And then Fernandez, I really loved him beating the brakes off of Yahya. But then again, it's Muhammad Yahya, so that's to be expected a little bit. As sad as the Ferguson loss was, at least Chiesa got him out of the way. And then I'd say Figueiredo versus Vera was a fun scrap. We got to see the chin of Vera finally get cracked. I mean, it's gotten cracked several times by O'Malley, but this time he actually folded a little bit with the strike. Shocking coming from a former flyweight champion, but hey, he dropped Moreno, so he's got very underrated boxing,
But as you said, that O'Malley beating probably affected him a little bit.
I think so. There are a lot of fights where someone gets hit a bunch of times, i.e. Tony Ferguson, and they never really go out. They never get fully finished. And then immediately afterwards in the next fight, they get fucking put out by something. So damage accumulates over time. Ask Cody Garbrandt. These things happen in MMA. But overall, there were enough results to keep me hanging on with the card, but I sort of had to watch it given I'm an MMA junkie. Just like
Tell me how PFL was.
PFL, I'd say there were just a few highlights on that one. One thing I did love was the Desheva KO. I've watched that a few times. She's one of my favorite women's MMA fighters at the moment just because I love her use of Muay Thai, her use of knees. Like that's actually what's finishing her opponents. Against Jenna Bishop, I did say that Bishop would be sort of the toughest challenge for Desheva so far in her early MMA career. And she did. She took down Desheva for at least like 2 or 3 minutes of control time. I was starting to get scared a little bit. She was on her back. Out of all people, Figgy drops him. That speaks volumes. Oh, Sally couldn't do it with my gay-ass knee. Anything that Sean O'Malley does is gay-ass.
He says Nick Diaz would have saved it, main event. No, it would have been another. It would have been another terrible, sad moment on the card. Yeah. I'm glad it didn't happen. But
they probably would have given Diaz a brain bleed instead.
What do you think about Sharamagomedov versus Nick Diaz?
God, I just feel like he'd hit Nick Diaz with a body kick that would just fucking crumble him. I just think he has really powerful shots. As we saw against Mikhail Olegzayshek, his flesh was getting fucking red from body kicks and from punches. So I just feel like Diaz, who I feel always has had sort of a soft belly a little bit, he'd get cracked by those shots. And I think eventually even Shara would find a way to get a TKO, maybe 3rd round, like Robbie Lawler. Even though that fight seemed a little fixed.
The problem is I don't think Nick Diaz is going to travel out of the country for a fight. And I think that
no way.
I think
can't
that Shara
put together a proper training camp.
I don't think Shara can fight in the United States. I don't think that the commissions will license him to fight with his eye. I think that his eye is probably doesn't have good vision out of it. I can't imagine that he does. So I don't think that fight happened.
People. And then Goltsov got a easy win over Tim Johnson, just ground and pound, took him down. Classic Dennis Goltsov style, gets the quick finish, quick 6. And then I'd say Santos versus Carmouche was actually a pretty close fight. Well,
2-1.
Tyler Santos, but not by much. I did think that she cleared the margin within the third round, just because she got a few more good shots off that wobbled Carmouche and got her down in moments where it counted. But overall, I'd say that was really back and forth. Then in a shocking turn of events, and I texted you about this, Tyrell Fortune lost by a heel hook to Sergey Bilisteny. Brutal stuff. It was a verbal tap. So yikes.
Pretty rare, too. Pretty rare to see a heel hook these days.
I'd say the upset of the entire card was Dedrick Sanders knocking out Sergio Cosio, because he was the number 1 ranked lightweight in Mexico, and Sanders just fucking folded him with a shot. That was super.
But yeah, I did drop the link in there if anyone else wants to join. We're just bullshitting, talking about fights. AJ, you should join in, dude. Join in and at least talk to us. Don't have to show your face.
Let me talk to you.
No, AJ's a good dude. I've talked to him on the phone a couple times.
So PFL, I'd say it had its highlights. What I really wanted was just to see a first-round knockout from Dakota Desheva, and that's exactly what I got. So overall, I'm pretty satisfied. But in terms of where does it rank among all the PFL shows this year, it's close to the bottom, in my opinion. But yeah, and then one fight night, I looked over the results. I'm happy that Jared Brooks got the win. A very quick rear naked choke. 4 minutes and 39 seconds on the clock in the first round. So he was just a few seconds.
He completely dominated Gustavo Bolaños.
Mm-hmm. So does that mean he's now facing the guy whose neck he fucking broke for that championship now?
Probably. I mean, he defended, I think it was for the interim title, so it should be. But as we know, one is stupid, and MMA sucks at one. So who knows? Who cares? I mean, who even gives a shit, really?
Then Elias Mahmoudi, who you were valuing on our preview stream, got that spinning back fist KO, which was
nice.
That was nice. And then Alif Sour Deshapan and Amy Perney both got big KOs with punches. So that's fun.
That KO was vintage, too.
They're not the MMA.
Nabil looked great. He dominated. That fucking huge motherfucker against Lobo, who had a tough fight with Haggerty. Nabil's definitely a threat, and it's crazy because when Nabil made his debut, it was against Superlek, and we were like, "Who the fuck is Nabil?" And we're like, "Oh shit, he's this massive dude." And Superlek made him look like a can, And I was like, "Oh, he's a can." And then now he's getting wins. It was pretty dope actually. Heard Leon is getting his spine fused. Is that true? AJ, hop in the fucking show, dude. What are you doing?
Yeah, I heard that he had a back injury before.
Oh, got it. Yeah, that's right. He came into the fight hurt. According to his coach.
Tyrone, get in the StreamYard, man. We're begging.
Anyone can hop in, man. We're just bullshitting, wrapping up the weekend that was. We'll be doing a full breakdown tomorrow of all our picks and stuff. But man, we're just kind of shooting the shit, man.
We did.
He got his back blown out by John Jones. Well, that'll happen.
Nice. Well, I know that Dana likes to take it once or twice a night, but I didn't know that Tyrone was involved with the triangle as well.
Did he do a post-fight press conference?
Yeah, he did, and he sounded freaking unhinged. Dana sounded fucking psychotic in that post-fight press conference. He was not happy with the lawsuit, I'm assuming, as well as the results of the fight card. So he was just fully honest, dude. It was scary.
I don't think that he did speak. Did he? Tonight?
Wait, who? Dana?
Oh no, he had this fucking guy. He had this asshole speak for him.
Oh.
This fucking whoever the fuck.
That's Sean Shelby or something?
I don't know who the fuck that is.
It's weird. Well, let me tell you, dude, I did well on picks for that UFC card. We both did well. In fact, I think we tied for the number of picks we got right.
And we'll go over that tomorrow in depth.
My locks were hot garbage, dude. Really, really bad. Like probably the worst I've ever done for locks, and I'm serious. But I'll reveal what happened there. You can't win them all. You have your highs and low moments. One thing that did happen that lightened my spirits was I fucking dominated Sean for the card. Just destroyed. He came in last place on that Rush Hour Tapology tournament. So
I had some people telling me that a lot of dogs were going to win tonight. That did not happen.
Zero dogs.
So,
which is nice every once in a while. When it's a freaking UAE run show, we're not going to see that many crazy upsets, especially in that fucking heat. But
yeah, I saw on the broadcast.
I need
It was
to
like,
watch that. Who was what's the name? His name again? Berdal or something? The boxer on the Crawford card who got the big KO.
Bacol.
Bacol. I need to watch that. That seemed like the big highlight of the night.
It really was. It really was. And all the boxing heads told me that he would win. He was like a plus 350 underdog. So good shit from him.
Yeah. Man, I'm just chilling out. I'm probably just going to listen to some good music and then head to bed. We got
understandable. I mean, does anyone else want to jump in? I don't know what's going on. I mean, we might have to wrap this up.
Yeah, this post show happened especially late. This
time 100%
bullshit.
Sean Shelby looks like an annoying bitch.
He does.
Hunter Campbell looks like a piglet. Screw them. They think they're special because they're under Uncle Fester's wing.
Yeah. Idaho, I heard that if you screw in a light bulb in Dana White's mouth, it goes zzz, zzz. That old Uncle Fester gag, Yeah,
I mean, there's talk of, Hunter Campbell taking over the UFC once Dana White steps down, which, who knows? I think he'll be probably promoting fights till he's 100, but I don't know, man. This lawsuit is interesting again, finally. Yeah, I was totally done with the lawsuit until the news came out that the Judge Boulware actually turned down the settlement. So,
yeah,
which is awesome. He's been out for the fighters since day one. He thinks that this whole thing is dumb. And if I was a juror on that case, I'd be ruling in the favor of the fighters 100%, because just the evidence is just mounting. And actually, you know what? More evidence is going to come out too when they actually do that trial, which is going to last for years, to be fair.
And that's how courts should work. They should be utterly objective with these things and only use the documents and the evidence that's been given to them, not the sway of fucking money. So you can't escape the wrath of the fighters this time in Dana, at least not for now. I think I uploaded a GIF in the Discord where it's like Dana's like, "Oh, you want to ask me for more money? More money? I'll give you more. I love everything about these courts. I love it."
Yeah. Well, shit, guys. I mean, I don't know. There's not much else to say. I think I broke down the whole weekend pretty good. Hank helped me out with some of the things I didn't watch. Did you catch any of BKFC?
Zero. If you want to ask somebody, you might want to chat with Denial. I'm pretty sure he's fast asleep, singing his kid a lullaby. Sure.
I guess it was in Sturgis during Bike Week, which is hilarious.
I could look it up really quick to see some
results. It was. I mean, we don't need to do that. Conor McGregor did speak. I wonder what he spoke about.
Probably about how he got arrested the other day.
I think he probably just...
I went over 90, mate. I was walking on air, mate.
Let's read this comment. Bro, Hunter doesn't take over Hunter face. I just cannot stand it. He looks like he scratches his face and smells his fingers. Can't wait for the next live stream. Hey, dude, Juice Man, we appreciate the hell out of you, man. You've been here pretty early on, so just hoping to grow more and just do more interactive shit. And I mean, anytime you want to hop in the stream on one of these post shows, man, anybody's welcome. So
I think this question is more important than anything we've discussed with MMA. What juice does the Juice Man like?
I would like to know myself.
Steroids? Seems like the most likely option.
Yeah, Connor's just kind of promoting BKFC. Good for him. He should be,
Like that good sniffy sniff. I like, wow. So the sweat coming off her toes, I see. Interesting.
Hey, man. I was talking shit about Mackenzie Dern not being attractive. So that the level to entry to be an attractive woman in MMA is pretty low. Alexa Grasso, though. It's a good-looking girl.
Britton Hart delivers punishing performance to beat Taylor Starling in the BKFC main event.
So wow.
Get out of this girl.
Yeah, probably.
Wow. Incredible.
Well, shit, guys. I think we're going to wrap it up there. Thank you guys for joining.
Oh, holy crap. He's sinking to a new low here.
Yeah, he's going in. We're out of here, though, man. Thank you guys for hanging around with me on this post show. give you a full breakdown tomorrow. Till then, get some sleep out there.
You have